Alright, it's your boy, the number one sports coaster, Chill Sampras, aka Brother Numsi, coming to break down a review of the play-in tournament, the NBA play-in tournament games that took place last night. So without further ado, we just gonna jump right into the reviews and see how these games went, and also look at the picks that I made. First game of the night yesterday, and y'all excuse the incense. You see the incense blowing through. You know, we gotta keep the vibe pure and clean up in here, especially after that nonsense that took place last night. But anyhow, we're just gonna get straight into it. I want to start off by saying shout out to the ATL boys. Shout out to the Hawks. Y'all came through. Y'all did y'all thing. They had a balanced attack last night. It wasn't just all on one player. Everybody on the whole Atlanta Hawks roster from top to bottom, everybody contributed. So I got to give a shout out to them. I picked the Miami Heat in that game. Of course, you know, your boy repped the Heat 305 all day. But we came up short, and Atlanta deserved that victory. Couple of things I want to touch on as far as the ATL side. Your boy Trae Young, he came through with 25, 7, and 8. That's almost a triple-double. He flirted with a triple-dub. So he came through and he kind of put his boys on his shoulders, and everybody just followed suit. So he showed excellent leadership skills. I don't want to take nothing from Trae Young. People been giving him flack all year long, but the boy showed up last night and he did his thing with the 25, 7, and 8. One of the keys I said for them to win is for that boy DeJounte Murray to handle a lot of the point guard and duties last night. And he did that. He came through also and contributed with 18 points. But between Trae Young and DeJounte, they combined it for 13 assists between the two of them, which is pretty good for a dual point guard backcourt like they are. So they did their thing for sure. DeJounte also came through with 3 huge three-pointers. Whenever Miami seemed like they was trying to make a comeback or cut into the lead, DeJounte always seemed to come through with some kind of dagger three-point shot that kept the lead pretty marginal. So DeJounte, hats off to you. You did your thing last night. Clint Capella, the big man for Atlanta, their center, came through with 21 rebounds. 21 rebounds in a postseason game. That's huge. And that helped Atlanta kind of solidify their second chance points. It seemed like every time I looked up, every time Atlanta shot the ball, they got a second chance. They got a third chance. It was just demoralizing for Miami to give up that many second chance points. And a lot of that is due to Clint Capella. Shout out to Clint Capella. You did your thing. You held down your responsibility, and you helped secure the win for your team. So shout out to Clint Capella. Looking at the Atlanta Hawks bench, they really dominated the Miami bench, which I didn't see coming, because if you look at the review that I did yesterday, or as I say, my prediction, I had the Miami Heat having a much better bench. So I figured that our bench was going to outplay Atlanta's, but that was not the case at all. Atlanta's bench was huge. Everybody on their bench hit double figures. Just going down the list, Conwoo came with 12 points. Sadiq Bey, 17 points. Johnson with 10 points. That boy Johnson, y'all watch him. He going to be special. That young cat was jumping out the gym. He was catching putback rebounds. He was catching lob passes. He was very energized, and he came through, did his thing. Bogdanovich. I mentioned Bogdanovich yesterday. I said he was going to have to make big shots because of Miami's defense, and he did that. He did that. No thanks to Miami's lackluster defense, but Bogdanovich did his thing. All in all, the Atlanta Hawks bench came through with 53 points. And that's something I didn't see coming. I know a lot of experts that had picked Miami didn't see that Atlanta's bench was going to dominate like that, but those boys clearly did. So shout out to ATL. Don't want to take nothing from y'all. But now getting to the Miami side of things, and I'm going to jump right in on them. Miami came out with an extreme lack of focus and preparation. All right, it was almost like those boys was coming out there moving in slow motion and sleepwalking. They was missing a lot of easy shots, a lot of point blank layups, a lot of things, a lot of turnovers early. So to me, that was a sign that them boys was not prepared and they were not focused on the game at hand. That to me falls directly on the coach. Coach Spo, there's a lot of different things that I can critique and criticize about Coach Spo, but I'm just going to kind of minimize it down to him failing to adjust. The failure to adjust when Coach Quinn for the Atlanta Hawks was making certain moves and certain chess moves, our coach Spo did not make any adjustments to counter that. All right, one of the things is sticking to this small ball lineup. That's why they call him small ball Spo. Because I don't know if he's just in love with the small ball, or he don't like big men, he don't like playing big men, or what it is, or anybody over 6'9", he seemed like he don't want to give him no playing time or even try to bring on the team. So that hurt us. That hurt us big time, as well as not starting Lowry over Gabe Vincent. Now, I know Kyle Lowry was struggling a lot this year. He didn't really have the game that people would have wanted him to have. Even me, myself, I criticized Kyle Lowry a lot this year, but especially with his personal issues, his injury history, and just his lack of production overall. But in a game like last night, that's a game we definitely could have used Kyle Lowry as in the starting lineup because of his experience factor alone. Just the experience factor alone, I felt like would have made a difference in having him inserted into that starting lineup. Gabe Vincent, God bless his soul, but Gabe Vincent, he is not a starting caliber point guard in my opinion, and that's just something that we had to deal with and had to see that firsthand and learn that the hard way. Strus also starting Oladipo. Come on, Spo. Come on, Spo. In a game like this, you got Max Strus, who's clearly a liability on defense, and he's a very streaky player. I understand Oladipo can also have his streaky moments, but he's been proven in big game situations like this where he comes through. So, and then his experience factor as well. So having those two experienced players sitting on the bench for a good portion of the first quarter kind of helped dig us into a hole, or put us into a hole that was hard to dig out of. So I put a lot of that on Coach Spo. He has this mentality about himself that he likes to stay the course, even when he sees that things are not working out, or if he see a lineup ain't working, or an opposing coach is catching on to what we're doing, or finds a formula to beat what we're doing. Coach Spo has this mantra about himself that he sticks to it and he just stays the course. This was a situation where he clearly was not supposed to do that, and it started showing and looking like he was being out-coached. I'm just going to say it. He got out-coached by the coach for the ATL Hawks. So, Coach Spo, that's on you. That one's on you. Also, another big part of the blame I like to put on Pat Riley. Now, I know a lot of the Heat Nation is going to come down on me for this, and it's probably going off and act like, well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Pat Riley's the Godfather, and he's got all this experience, and he's brought championships to us, and he has the pedigree and all of that. Yeah, I get that, but his refusal to upgrade the roster and resting on his laurels is part of what cost us this victory as well. We got to go down the line. If we're going to start from the top and take it all the way down. So Pat Riley, he owns a big lion's share of this blame for running this same team back that came up short last year. And I know you got people saying, but we were one Jimmy Butler 3-pointer away from the finals last year. Yeah, but this is not the same season as last year. Number one, everybody else got better. The Boston Celtics got better. Cleveland Cavaliers got better. Toronto, everybody made moves. Everybody made moves and got better from last year to this year, except for the Miami Heat. We stayed with that same running back mentality, and at the end of the day, it cost us because the team is too small and we give up too many second chance points, and we don't have no real legitimate help for the main scorers on the team, which is Hero and Jimmy Buckets and Jimmy Butler. Those two guys, there's outside of them, we don't really have no go-to scorers or nobody else that can get a bucket. And even those guys sometimes can be a little bit inconsistent. So a lot of that is on Pat Riley, but we ain't going to stay too much on that. I'm just going to end that whole little Pat Riley segment with a quote that Charles Barkley gave. And he gave this quote during the LA Lakers halftime when the Lakers were struggling a little bit with Minnesota. He said basically that you can't just rely on your team's name and your reputation. You got to show up. You have to. It's what have you done for me lately type of a league. You can't just look at the fact that we're the Miami Heat and we're known for being tough. We're known for having a tough culture. We're known for defense. We're known for finding gems and finding undrafted talent that takes it to the next level. We're known for that. Well, yeah, sometimes you can't rely on that. You can't rely on just what your reputation is or what your history is. You have to put in work now. You have to update your resume every day. You have to diversify your portfolio every day. You can't just sit there resting on laurels and that come back and bite you at the end of the day. So, with all that being said, Pat Riley, I think he might be one of the oldest team presidents in the NBA, in the league. And look, y'all can crucify me for this or not, or whatever, however y'all feel. But I feel like it might be time for Pat Riley to step down and let some new young blood come in there and try to shake things up and bring some real young, new, fresh talent into the team. Because right now, Pat Riley's way hasn't really gotten the job done in quite some time. The Big Three era is a long time ago. Zoe and Tim Hardaway was a long time ago. I mean, the bubble even was a long time ago. So we can't look at none of that stuff and say, oh, well, Pat Riley's getting the job done, because Pat Riley ain't getting the job done, and he ain't got the job done in quite some time. So it might be time for him to sit down. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it loud and proud. So sit down. Yeah. Now, on to the players. Bam Adebayo. Bam. Where were you, Bam? Where were you, Bam? You gave us, first of all, Bam played 41 minutes. That's almost every minute of the game. He played 41 minutes and gave us 12 points. 12 points and 9 rebounds. That is not going to cut it. That's not going to get it, Bam. You can't come in here being one of the faces of the team and one of the game changers and come in there and put up 12 points and 9 rebounds in a must-win game like that. He looked uninterested. I mean, let's just be real. If you look at Bam's body language, he looked uninterested, unmotivated, lazy. He missed a lot of easy shots. He shot 6 for 19. 6 out of 19, and then all his shots are in the paint. So if you missing all of them shots in the paint, some's telling me that your mind ain't in the game. You ain't, you didn't want to be there, or you just plain on not prepared. And if that's the case, then just say that then. And that's even more evident to what I was saying about the talent and who we have and how the team is constructed. But Bam, you got to hold that. You got to hold that 6 for 19. You got to hold that 12 points and 9 rebounds. You're getting bullied by Clint Capella. I mean, Capella was just bullying him all around. Just bullying him left and right. It was embarrassing, and it was a disgrace. It was degrading to Bam, to his character, to his confidence, and to the team's well-being overall. Just seeing our centerpiece get moved around and pushed around like a rag doll like that by Clint Capella. I mean, all respect due to Clint Capella, but come on, Bam. You an all-star, fam. You's an all-star, and that's how you played. That's how you perform. That nah-guan cut it. All right, you got bullied. Played 41 minutes. Jimmy Butler. Let's talk about you, Jimmy. Jimmy, who I said was going to be playoff Jimmy. He wasn't playoff Jimmy. He was more like payoff Jimmy, because it looked like somebody paid him off to put up that lackluster performance. 21 points and 9 assists. Come on, Jimmy. This is not a regular season game. You can save them 9 assist games for stat padding regular season games where you're just trying to get your numbers up and trying to get your team involved and all of that foolishness. But this was not the time for that. Looking to pass too much. You was hesitant. He got under the basket a few times. He made it all the way under the basket and immediately turned around to look for somebody to pass to when you right up under the basket. Jimmy, what is that? You passing up easy layups? So what? Capella blocked you 3 times or 4. I don't know how many times Clint Capella blocked your shot. So what? You still attacked the basket. He got hesitant and he got lackadaisical. And I saw that in Jimmy, and I was not feeling that. So that, Jimmy, you got to hold that too. You got to hold all of that. Tyler Hero. Now, Tyler, I'll give you this. You led all the starters in points with 26 points. Mostly in the early part of the third quarter, but you did turn up at least enough to cut into the Hawks' lead. When they came into the third quarter, the Atlanta Hawks was already up by 15 to 20 points. It was somewhere, it was ridiculous. But Tyler Hero cut into that lead and got us down to, I believe it was a 6-point deficit. He got us pretty close with his tirade. He made about 3 or 4 shots in a row that got the lead cut down. But as soon as Atlanta responded, Tyler turned right back into a pumpkin. He wasn't looking like Tyler Hero. He was looking like Tyler Zero. As a matter of fact, I'm not calling you Tyler Hero until we win another game, or until you show me that you can put the team on your back when everybody else is struggling and will us to a victory. So until then, you're going to be just straight up Tyler. You're just Tyler, either Tyler or you're Tyler Zero, because that's how many wins we have when you put forth an effort like that. He turned the ball over about 3 or 4 times just in the first quarter alone. In the first quarter alone, I'm counting Tyler Hero as like a walking turnover. He couldn't hold on to the ball. He passing the ball out of bounds, dribbling off his shoe. He just doing all kind of, non-focused type of activities. And that's not going to cut it either, Tyler. I mean, Tyler was 2 for 9 from downtown. We just gave you over like $100 million contract for you to shoot 2 for 9 from downtown in a must-win play-in game. That not going to cut it. It's not going to work. Pretty much all of the points that Tyler Hero did score when he was stringing together those consecutive buckets, they was on Trae Young. You were scoring on Trae Young, Tyler. God bless Trae Young's soul, but there's no way you can tell me that Trae Young at his size is going to pose any type of a defensive threat to anybody in the league, let alone a scoring threat that Tyler Hero is supposed to be at upwards of 6'6", 6'7", or somewhere around that. Come on, Tyler, you got to do better than that. You picking on Trae Young, but then once the Hawks made the adjustment and put DeJounte on you and started throwing other bodies on you, now all of a sudden he turned back to a pumpkin and can't make a jump shot. So Tyler Hero, you got to hold some of that L. Even though you gave us 26, hold that. All right, now let's talk about our bench. The Miami Heat bench was a pure embarrassment. Matter of fact, let me look at some of these numbers, because this I almost had to look at it twice because I couldn't really believe it. And shout out to Kyle Lowry, who did come off the bench, because Kyle Lowry with 33 huge points off the bench. And that showed me right there that he should have been starting, but that's a whole nother story. But without Kyle Lowry, we would have gotten blown out of this gym. We would have got blown and ran out of our own gym, our own stadium. But thanks to Kyle Lowry, he kept the game close enough. But outside of Kyle Lowry, our bench had a total of 4 points. The Miami Heat had 4 points, 4 bench points. That's ridiculous. And that's still 1 point more than what the starter Max Strus gave us, which is 3 points. And he was horrible. That's not going to get it with his 1 for 5 shooting self. That's a whole nother story. I can't put too much on Max because ain't too much expected out of Max. I don't understand why you was in the starting lineup to begin with, but that ain't going to work. But let's talk about it. Kevin Love off the bench, 2 points. All right. Caleb Martin off the bench, 0 points. All right. Cody Zeller. What? Cody Zeller, 7 feet tall, waste of height in this game. How many minutes he gave us? He only gave us 4 minutes with 2 points. Victor Oladipo, with your unengaged self, 9 minutes, 0 points. I don't know if a lot of that was because of the fact he was upset that he was coming off the bench and felt like he should have been starting in front of Strus, which I feel like he should have. But you got to do better. 0 for 1, you shoot 1 shot 0 for 1 and you give me a whopping 0 points. You had more fouls than you had points, boy. That ain't going to work. That not going to cut it. It's not going to get it. So, all in all, this was a bad loss. It was embarrassing. We're not beating anybody with that type of effort. I don't care if it's Toronto or the Chicago Bulls, whichever one win that game. If the Miami Heat play that type of a lackadaisical effort, and if Coach Spo come out with that same foolish game plan again, we ain't beating nobody. And we're going home early. And I hope that will be a sign and a message to the front office that something needs to change. Something definitely needs to change. So that game was a pure embarrassment. But shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. It wasn't a good game for the Heat Nation. We got a lot of work to do. Even if we do win this game, we got a lot of work to do. But let's go on and slide on past that game and rip that game all up and forget about it and move on. All right. Now, going into the next game, the second piece of the doubleheader, the LA Lakers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was a competitive game. It was competitive, going back and forth. Like I said in my prediction, AD and LeBron had to be superstars in order for them to win that game. And they did their thing. LeBron led the way for the Lakers with 30 and 10. Classic LeBron playoff performance. He's going to give you 30 plus in the playoffs. He's going to give you double-digit either rebounds or assists or both. And he did that. He controlled the pace of the game for the most part from what I saw. AD, overall, he slightly outplayed Karl Anthony Towns. Remember, y'all, I said for the Lakers to really win that game that AD had to outplay Karl Anthony Towns, and he did that. 24 and 15. I mean, they were even with points because I think Cat had 24 points, but AD had 24 and 15. So he edged him on the rebounds because Cat only had 11 rebounds. Big surprise here, Mike Conley dropped 23 points, which nobody really expected Mike Conley to come through with 23 points. But the story for Minnesota was the absence or Anthony Edwards struggling to get into double figures. I had bragged and boasted about this kid yesterday. He was talking about how filthy of a step back Jay he had and how, he was capable or possibly capable of putting the team on his back and trying to will his team to a victory. But this brother didn't even show up. I mean, 4 for 7. He shot 4 for 7 with 9 overall points in an overtime game. Yeah, that game did go to overtime. And the brother only gave us 9 points. That Naguan cut it. Ant-Man, you're going to have to do much better than that if you want to put anybody on notice. All right? The future of the franchise, and I don't know if the moment was just too much for him or what, but that Naguan cut it. So, Ant-Man, you got to do better. Karl Anthony Towns did his part with 24 and 11. It just wasn't enough, especially in an overtime game, and your second best player only gives you 9 points on 7 shot attempts. Yeah, that's not going to work. Now, had Anthony Edwards given Minnesota anything at all, anything more than what he did, then it could have changed the outcome of the game. But I did pick the Lakers in that game. The Lakers did win that game. So, I was able to save at least one of my picks out of the 2. So, shout out to the Lakers. Shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. Y'all punched y'all ticket to the playoffs, and y'all earned that. So, y'all lay around for the next preview, my next prediction coming at y'all real soon. But that's all I got for y'all on this one. Brother Noom said, alt.